All right. Hey, everybody. This is Rosh, and you are watching FM3 Basics. This is a YouTube series I'm putting together to help new and experienced users program all their Fractal products, including the AXFX3, the FM3, and the FM9. So this particular video is going to be dedicated to the FM3. So a little about myself. Once again, my name is Rosh, and I'm a guitar player and a guitar tech out here in the Los Angeles area. I help a lot of people program their Fractal rigs. Some of my clients include Steve Vai, Leppard, Melissa Etheridge, Perfect Circle, Bush, and more. So if you've been watching this video series, this format's going to be slightly different. What I'm doing is I'm going to be showing some live setups on how to use all your Fractal products live. So this is going to be dedicated to the FM3, and this one is basically what I like to call a stage volume only setup. So I'm going to do a couple different, live rig rundown setups, where I'm just going to, really display just a very simple setup. Now, this setup is very simple. You're really just running audio from the stage. So anybody in the audience, the only thing they're going to hear is coming from your either speaker wedge or your full range flat response speaker or your cabinet with a power amp. And I'm not running into the mixer. I'm not running into front of house. Again, anything that is going to be heard that's going to be guitar is going to be just coming right from my personal full range flat response speaker. I run mono generally. Most of the time it's going to be fine. Occasionally I will run stereo, usually if I'm playing for an artist or I'm doing a tour or something. But in general, running mono is fine. And this type of setup is really great for smaller sized venues. So the two on-site rundowns that I'm going to be doing is one, we're in the corner of a bar. The other one is just like a Halloween gig, a little private event, it's in a comedy club. So again, both of these venues are, going to maybe have like 500 people max or something like that. So something that you're not going to need to be super loud. Now, the only considerations you really need to make sure that you're doing is just when you're dialing in your sounds, just make sure you dial them in at the volume you plan on performing at. So if you have a particularly loud band, make sure you also dial in your sounds very loudly. And then this is also going to be, require that the band basically, mix themselves on the stage. So the bass player is going to have to play at a certain volume, the drummer is going to have to play at a certain volume, and you as the guitar player are going to play at a certain volume. And you're all just dynamically mixing your stage volume as you play. So I can make all adjustments that I want just by either using my volume pedal to make small, fine adjustments, or I can actually reach down and turn the output one knob up. Again, very simple setup. There's not really too much to think about it. The only thing that I do that some people do ask me for is, where do I put the cabinet? So I actually just put my full range flat response speaker right behind me. It's a wedge, so it's actually going to be pointing up towards me rather than directly at the audience. This is helps for a couple of considerations. One, that the speaker is pointed right at your head. So you want to at least have enough room that the speaker behind you is going to have a direct angle to where your ears are. If it's pointed at your back, if it's pointed at the back of your legs, you're not going to be able to hear yourself as clearly as if the wedge was pointed directly at your head. If you are using a cabinet, with a power amp kind of situation, that's a very standard guitar setup that, most of us are very familiar with. The cabinet's going to be pointing at the back of your legs. Again, one of the main considerations to be able to hear yourself clearly without being too loud is to make sure there's enough distance between you and the cabinet. If the cabinet is right up against the back of your legs, your ears are up here, your legs are down there, you can't really hear yourself cleanly, and you're going to overcompensate with the volume as a result. Now, that means anybody in direct line of sight of the speaker is going to hear a lot of guitar. So since I use a full range flat response cabinet, it's a little less directional and beamy than a guitar cabinet. It's going to kind of disperse the sound a little bit better. And again, since it's pointed up at my head, I don't need to be too loud to hear myself. Now, you can, of course, tilt the full range flat response cabinet so that it's just facing more like a traditional guitar amp speaker. If that works for you, totally great. I personally don't like the look of it, but I also like to, again, hear myself clearly without being too loud. Because, when you're only running like vocals in the PA system or in the speakers or whatever, it can be a little tricky to hear yourself. I do a lot of singing in most of the situations that I'm gigging in. And so I want to be able to hear myself clearly vocally as well. And with these types of setups, we're generally not going to be using speaker wedges either. Everything that we're going to be hearing is coming out of the main PA speakers. So you're either kind of standing near the PA speaker so you can at least hear a little bit of the speaker, the PA speaker kind of near your head, or you're going to hear actually like, something coming off the back wall. Again, this type of setup is really great for small venues, small bars, small venues. I did a rig very similar to this, or a rig rundown in a tutorial video very similar to this using the FM9. In that case, we were playing a patio stage. And again, only vocals running out of the PA. So outside of those considerations, it's pretty much a no-brainer. Just set up the cabinet behind you. Just make sure you're mixing the volume, appropriately to the band that you're in, situation that you're doing or playing in. And then anybody out in the audience can hear you. I would always recommend using a volume pedal so that you can, dynamically adjust your volume as you're playing. One of the things that I tend to do with the volume pedal is whenever we check our sounds or get my sound ready, I don't put the volume pedal all the way down. I usually leave just a little bit of slack on it. And then I turn up the output one knob to an appropriate level. So that gives me just a little extra if I need to turn up the volume, or if I want to dial the volume back, but I have this, kind of like a little bit of extra headroom to, turn up the volume in case we get to a loud section of a song or something like that. Or if I want to boost a little bit louder for, maybe a guitar part I want to cut through, or a guitar solo. But again, every situation is going to be different, but this setup is, probably one of the simplest setups out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transition this video. We're going to go over to basic live setups. I'm going to do, one that's going to be in the corner of a small bar. The other one's going to be in a comedy club. Again, both of these setups, we're not running into the mix. I'm not running into the mixer. I'm not running into the PA at all. Everything is just coming right from the stage. All right, everybody. So we're going to do a little rig rundown. This is a very, very simple setup. So this is just basically stage volume only. So what I'm using is my FM3, and I got my air step right there, just adding a little extra MIDI functionality to the FM3, and then my volume and expression pedal, and this mess of cables. So we're just playing a corner of a bar here tonight, really small. We don't need to go crazy and get super loud or anything. So really all I'm going to do is basically set up my full range flat response speaker right behind me. And this is an RCF NX12 SMA. And really all we're doing is just setting that up. I'm just going to turn it up loud enough so it gets over the band. And then, of course, I'm going to make any fine adjustments with my volume pedal. And, of course, I can always just reach down there and go to the output one knob and just turn that up as needed. So I'm running mono right there coming out of one side of the output one. Just an XLR cable straight into the full range speaker. And that's all I'm going to basically do. Again, I'm running mono. If you're running stereo, then you'll just have two full range cabinets behind you. And then you can just turn that up and, get it as loud as you need to fill the stage and the venue with your guitar sound. Especially when you're running just, stage volume only and you're only running vocals into the PA. You don't really need to do much. You don't need to overthink it or anything. Just get your sound loud enough, and that's basically it. So this really relies on a band that's going to mix themselves from the stage, especially if you're only going to run vocals into the PA system, maybe keyboard or whatever. But pretty simple setup. Again, we're just kind of like in this little corner right here, and that's going to be basically it. All right, thanks. All right, hey everybody, this is Rosh, and so we're going to do another live rig rundown. We got my FM3 setup right here. So we're playing a Halloween event today, and basically, this setup is going to be what I like to call a stage volume only setup. So I got my FM3 here. I got my air step pedal, and the air step is just adding some extra MIDI functionality to this. Basically 5 more buttons. I use those 5 buttons as my 5 scenes, and then I got some effects over there. And then I got my volume and expression pedal. And, again, we're playing a relatively small, like, comedy club. There's a private event for the comedy club they do every Halloween. And then over here, I got my RCF NX12 SMA full range flat response speaker. Now, again, it's a pretty small event, as you can tell. It's a pretty small stage. Got the drums over there, got the bass player over there.
And all we're doing is anything that is going to be played out of the guitar, any guitar sound is going to be basically coming out of the speaker off the stage. So if you look down there, I'm running one XLR cable running mono into that cabinet. I'm not running into the PA at all. So it's any guitar that the audience hears is just going to be coming from that speaker behind me right into the stage. Now, the real key is that basically I'm placing this behind me, and I've got it, tilted up as a wedge right there. And it's just tilted up, pointing at my head. And again, I'm about maybe 2 or 3 feet behind me, so pretty small. And again, all I do is just, set the volume of where I want it, and then I'm just making fine adjustments with my volume pedal if I need to. And of course, I can always reach down, and then I can always adjust output 1 right there. So right now it's about noon. And generally, I always run my full range flat response cabinet full blast, fully clockwise. And so that anything that I need to do, I can just reach down there and turn this up or down if I need to. I'm not running out of output 2 or anything like that. And then again, any volume or any guitar that is being heard on stage is literally coming from this wedge. Now, if at any point I want to run into the PA speaker or the mixer for the PA, I can always take another XLR cable, run it right to the mixer on the other side of the stage, and then that's it. So again, a very simple setup. I like to call this stage volume only. It would be the same thing as if I set up a guitar amp behind me and use a traditional pedal board. So anyways, other than that, I hope everybody's doing well. Happy Halloween. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
All right. So thanks so much for watching this YouTube series. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you have any topics you would like me to cover, feel free to leave a comment below. If you need any one-on-one help, I do a lot of one-on-one consultations, help a lot of people remotely, program all their Fractal units. Feel free to contact me directly, and we can set up a session for you guys. So without further ado, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.